I appreciate your one-arm dance moves, laying down. Sincerely right. Appreciate that. Well, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Happy Hour. I am your host, Hayden Humphrey, and I am extremely excited about this particular episode because I have my good friend, fellow coach, and just all-around extraordinary human, Miss Rachel Gitlevich. Rachel, how the heck are you?
I'm great. Thank you for such a lovely intro and for having me on here. It's such an honor and a pleasure. I love that you're doing this. And yeah, I've been doing great. The sun is shining in Chicago. The weather is warming up and just feels so good to just be like inhaling that vitamin D, if that's how it works.
Very much so. It's in the air, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's how you ingest it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Rachel, for the folks watching who don't know who you are, can you share with us a little bit about who you are and what you're up to?
Totally. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Rachel Gitlevich. I am a mindfulness and business coach. So I help people really tap into what stops them, what gets in their way of really acknowledging and owning what they want, feeling worthy of it and deserving, and not getting in their own way to go get it.
Yes. I love that so much. I always appreciate having other coaches in my life. And like, I went through a coaching program called Accomplishment Coaching, and all my AC people, I love you. And I love having other coach friends that are not in the same program and like bring a totally different approach and a totally different set of ideas and tools and strategies. And I just love everything that you've been up to recently with all of the mindfulness and the breath work and the meditation. And I just think those are all tools that people could so greatly benefit from having and using. So I just appreciate you and the work that you're doing out in the world. It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Well, Rachel, the way that I love to start off this show is with a question. And for those of you watching and listening, please also feel free to let us know your answer to this question. But Rachel, what's making you happy right now?
Ooh, I love this question. And honestly, a lot of it has been through like a lot of things, honestly. I've been like facilitating breath work and meditation, like you said, and that's been beautiful. And then kind of reconnecting with my own practice of meditation, yoga has been like helping me unfold and unfurl a lot of things. But truly and honestly, I have to tell you, I've been leading this book club for girls and the Confidence Code for Girls. And we've been doing it virtually. I had no idea how it was going to go. And it's been making me so happy. Like I could have everything go wrong in a day, and then I have my book club that day and my heart just lights up. And it's truly because it's like, I think I can identify with someone, like these girls are like anywhere from 5th, 6th grade, so like 11 years old, to teenagers maybe embarking on in high school. And I feel like I'm just like right there with them in like what they're going through. And it's just been so fun to like hear their perspective on what it means to be confident. And it lights me up. So that really has been making me so happy.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I find that's always the case whenever I'm not feeling great or I'm feeling kind of like resistant or like, those moods where you just don't want to do anything. And then I have like a call planned, or like not this, but like some call planned, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to get on this call. And then it's a call where I'm talking about that kind of stuff with people and like openly sharing and like being authentic and vulnerable and talking about, that kind of stuff. And it's like immediately I feel so much better on the other end. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. for this kind of thing. That's awesome. I think what's making me happy, I was telling Rachel a little bit about this. I play this game called League of Legends. Me and my roommate Christian play together, and I have been playing a ton recently. And it's so funny because for a very long time, I really avoided doing any of that kind of stuff because I was like, oh, this feels like a waste of time, or I feel guilty because I should be working and I should be doing other things or whatever it is. But it's like the sheer joy that I get from playing, and also just like being able to play with buddies, is it just makes my heart very happy and brings me a lot of joy. And I think that's kind of like the whole reason for being here and like doing any of this stuff. So very grateful for League of Legends. That's what I'll say. And a very closely related follow-up question, Rachel, what are you most grateful for today?
Wow, so many things. I was actually going through this earlier today because I really do enjoy starting every morning off with gratitude. And I would say I'm grateful for like light at the end of a tunnel. I feel like we're kind of slowly embarking back into this new normal of what's happening in our world. So that's one of the things is just this, I woke up with a sense of hope for what is possible and that. And if my internet's cutting out, let me know. I look like I'm a little bit choppy.
Just a little bit.
But that's like part of it. But I'm really most grateful for, I think, this sense of peace that I feel today, like letting go of expectations that I have of what I feel like I should be doing and where I feel like I should be, but just kind of owning where I'm at today and having this sense of peace in my little furry Bruce.
I love it. It's so funny because I feel like the unconscious thought when I look at my situation and I'm like, oh, I should be further, or I should be doing more, or I should be different, is like somehow my brain thinks that by judging myself and like applying this should, that it's somehow going to like motivate me or like move me along and like make me work harder, when in reality it's like when you just fully accept exactly where you are, I think that's when the true creativity and like the true leaps forward actually come into play. So it's just like letting go of that should is so important.
1000%. I think, and it's so important to notice where we do it, because I think it can come up in so many different ways. I think it can come up in like feeling like we should be further along, or feeling like we should be showing up social media more, or feeling like we should be in a different job. And so it's like kind of unraveling and unfurling all of it.
Totally. I think the thing that I am most grateful for is I started this challenge, self-imposed challenge, about 16 days ago. I'm about halfway through. It's a 30-day challenge. And one of the pieces of this challenge was consistently doing my morning routine every single day. And one of the pieces that I've taken on through my morning routine is this exercise or this process called completion. And the idea is you take a look at what's all the incomplete energy that you're holding on to, stuff that like thoughts and feelings about things that happened yesterday or last week or the month before. And how do you actually release all of those things and get complete on those things so that you can move forward in a way that's clear and free and just open. And it has made such an enormous difference in my day-to-day experience of myself and of life. Because now when I'm writing content, when I'm talking to people about potentially working with me, when I'm literally doing anything, my brain and my focus is just fully on the present moment versus thinking about, oh, well, last time I talked to a client and, they didn't do X, Y, or Z, or this thing didn't work out, or like whatever it is. I feel like I just feel so much lighter and I feel so much more present to like what can be versus being so focused on like what has happened or had happened. So I'm very, very grateful for that experience. And it's definitely something I plan to continue to do.
Yeah, that ever elusive present moment is just so beautiful, right?
Just a practice of all things. Well, Rachel, the part of the show that we have now arrived upon. It's one of my favorites, and it's the random question of the day. Rachel, are you ready for your random question of the day?
Right.
All right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up now. All right, Rachel, I am generating your random question now. What is the last big argument you got into, and who was it with? Or feel free, you don't have to give specifics if it's just about what it was about.
I'm trying to think, as I don't really like. I mean, you're gonna think I live like some like just a peaceful life, but like I'm trying to think if I like got into like who I got into an argument with. Like I don't know if I have. Like I'm trying to rack my brain if I were to. I mean, you know me. Like I'm just like
so argumentative, hostile, aggressive.
Totally. I mean, it would. Let's see. I like kind of want to think. Do you have an answer to this? Because I might have to like.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I don't know what this says about me, but the last big argument that I got into was with my roommate over the temperature. And by big, I mean we had a 5-minute conversation about it and then came to an agreement, and that was that.
Your temperature at
60. Now it's 68.
Okay.
Yeah, when we sleep, I'm a bit on the colder side, and he's a bit more on the warmer side. So
I'm definitely more on the colder side. Our AC wasn't working here last night, and we
oh my goodness,
today. Yeah, it was.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I have I have this comforter that I've had for like honestly probably like over a decade, and it's because it's like my favorite blanket, and I would continue to use it, but it has now started to come apart at the seams. So literally like the down is like coming out of it's like coming out of the blanket. So now I'm on the search for a new blanket. I've been through 2 already via Amazon that just have not worked out. So I've got my fingers crossed for the 3rd one. But
yeah, well, I'll show you what I think I have it somewhere here. Yeah, what I covered with last night, because I don't know, I have this like weird complex where I feel like I need to be like covered with something, but like my comfort was too hot, and like my blanket still a little bit too sweatery material. So I was just like this little scarf. I don't know, like I just want to cover myself up with this.
I just need something on my body.
I just need some sort of cover. I think it's totally a comfort thing, but.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't say like a big argument, but I did have an argument with my mom about, I don't know if it would even be an argument, more of like a friendly debate about the word compassion. And because this entire weekend I was on this like yoga and meditation retreat, and it was all about like there was a big element of like self-compassion and how we are not like self-compassionate towards ourselves a lot of the time, and like how, and like her perspective, I guess, on compassion is like the root word of passion, meaning like kind of struggle. And so she was kind of, her perspective was, well, like why have, like it's like you're kind of putting yourself in the position of like struggling with like compassion. So struggling with, so let's say, for example, you pass a homeless person on the street, and like what a compassionate person do. So compassion towards others is like first noticing them, seeing them, and then the second would be essentially like noticing that they are no different, that we are all one, and that is compassion. And so her perspective was like, well, you don't necessarily need to feel their struggle in order to like recognize them, if that makes sense. So we kind of just like went back and forth about this word. And because I personally, I think that, you know, there's always more, we can always be more compassionate. And well, you know, that just means like kind of struggle with. So
yeah, it's like gradients of compassion. Interesting. We have a longtime viewer of the show in the comment section. Anna Chapman says hello. Anna, how the heck are you? I hope you're doing amazing. Thanks for being here. Rachel, we move into a couple other questions, and these are more intimate questions to get to know you. So these are just some questions about facets of your life that I think the audience will be very, very interested in. So the first question here, Rachel, is what is the food that you consume most frequently?
I would say I probably consume avocados most frequently. I love them. I think they could go on absolutely anything. Or I would say maybe PB&Js.
Ooh, nice. Is it like the texture of avocados? Is it like the utility of avocados?
Yeah, I think it's the utility. Like you got guacamole, you got avocado toast, you could just eat them plain. You can put them on your burrito bowl. Like just there's
So many options.
Yeah.
Put them in your shake.
Right.
Put them on your sandwich.
Totally. So
Put
many.
them in a salad.
All the things. Yeah. They're great.
Do you ever put them on your PB&J? Like do a little like combo, combine the two?
I don't know about that.
That's, draw the line. That's where you draw the line. Oh, that's awesome. Rachel, how do you take your coffee?
So I'm not a big coffee drinker. I am more of like a lemon water in the morning type of person, and then / matcha every so often. So I do like a matcha latte and or lemon water in the morning.
Nice. Is it with real milk or do you use like oat milk or?
Yeah, definitely.
Latte.
Yeah, either oat or what else? Yeah, typically I'd say oat milk's probably the all-time fave. It just gets all nice and frothy in there.
Delicious. I can't do real milk or like real dairy much anymore. It just like it tears me up. It's bad news.
100%.
I feel you on the oat milk. Rachel, how many pillows do you sleep with?
I sleep with 2 pillows / I've got like some like decorative pillows that are in the background, but I usually
do they stay on your bed or do you like take them off?
Like
when you crawl in bed?
I kind of throw them in the back. I've got like a little like space in between like my bed frame and my bed, and so I just kind of put them in there.
You toss them in there.
Sometimes I hug them. I snuggle with them. I'm a big boy.
Nice. I have to have the same thing. Like for a long time, I was just a one pillow guy, which hold your judgments. I was just a one pillow guy. But then I started I started hugging a pillow and I sleep, and it's a game changer. And now like I have to have that pillow when I sleep. And if I'm somewhere where another pillow is not available, like I will make a pillow. I will like literally like find things to put together so I can hold on to something.
Yeah, it's like
when I'm sleeping.
Oh yeah. Did you sleep with a stuffed animal when you were growing up?
Yes, I did.
What was your animal?
It was a I don't know why the word ambiguous. It was a bear-looking creature. It's Pookie. Good guy. Great guy. Spotted. Yeah.
Sounds really cute. Sounds really cute. I had a like Beanie Baby type. It was like one of the bigger Beanie Babies. It was like
nice.
It was like TY brand. It was a black cat named Cole.
Nice.
I loved him. He's still
sounds like a good dude.
I still have him.
I love that. Last question here, Rachel. What's the background on your phone right now, and why?
The background on my phone is a sunset of a picture that I took when I was in Iceland. And nice. It was just like that trip was just magical on its own. Iceland is just such a beautiful country. And so I love that it's kind of has like a neutral, but like beauty and magical essence to it. So, yeah, I think it like, oh, anytime I remember, like if I'm like present with looking at it, I'm like Iceland, Northern Lights, beautiful sunsets, ice looking like majestic creatures, and just yeah, absolute magic.
That's awesome. I feel like the vast majority of the time, the background on my phone is some sort of landscape or some sort of natural thing. I think it's a mountain range right now. It's just a nice thing to look at, to get grounded.
Totally. Like I've played around with like having my cat as a background, but I don't know, it just like doesn't like I love him so much and he like I see him all the time. I don't really need him as my background.
I've got too much of you. I don't need any more of this in my life. I love it. Well, Rachel, we have reached the quote of the day. And the quote of the day today is start before you're ready. Don't prepare, begin. Mel Robbins. Any thoughts, reflections? What resonates with you?
It resonates on so many levels. And I feel like it's such a relevant quote to what we do as coaches because that's kind of how we even started to begin with. Like we just did it. We just made that choice, decided, and went for it. So I think that comes with a lot of times stepping outside your comfort zone and just really deciding before you think about it too much. Because when you think about something too much, you end up just kind of getting stuck with where you're at.
Totally. Talking yourself out of it. It's the cool part. I have recently clarified my niche, so to speak, or the type of person that I want to work with. And it's the folks who are where I was 3 years ago, who are stuck in corporate and who want to leave and start their own business. And I think that it is so exciting now to be able to be an ambassador of sorts, a conduit of sorts, a reminder for people to be like, hey, go do the thing that you want to do. Like life is too damn short to keep doing something that you don't like doing or you don't enjoy doing. And it's just so interesting. I think you're spot on with like, we spend so much time thinking and planning and preparing and like, well, I have to wait until all these things line up before I can go do the thing that I actually want. And it's so fun to be able to present people with like, well, hey, what if it was never going to be the right time? Like, what if it literally was always going to feel uncomfortable regardless of when you ended up starting or like regardless of like where you started? Then it just becomes a question of like, well, I want to start now because that just means that I get to spend more time doing the things that I love instead of just sitting around and, waiting for the stars to align or whatever it might be.
Totally. And one thing that you made me think of was when we were at Summit of Greatness last year, and Ed Milet was one of the speakers, and he talked about like, being greeted at the gates of heaven and like seeing your reflection and like I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but like you see this version of yourself and like there's this version of you that took all the opportunities, did all of the things, and then this version that like kind of stood on the sidelines like thinking like, oh, like it's like almost like, why didn't you do that? So I don't want to be that why didn't you? I want to be that version that like just went for it.
I love that. Amazing. Well, Rachel, we've reached the final part of our show, which is parting words. So, Rachel, any parting words that you would leave us with, gems, words of wisdom?
I would say just like acknowledging where you are, just knowing that where you are is just such an amazing place to be and that where you are is enough and not having to, you don't have to force anything. You don't have to be anywhere else, but just acknowledge how far you've come and really taking a moment to let that sink in, reflecting on all of the things, like not thinking about how far you still need to go or how far that mountaintop might seem, but just like noticing how far you've already climbed and all the things that you've already accomplished and just taking a moment, letting that sink in.
It's huge. I think there's so much opportunity in getting clear on what you've already accomplished. Because then when you forget, you can just be like, oh, look at all the things that I already did. I love that. Well, Rachel, appreciate the heck out of you. Thanks so much for being on the show and sharing with us. I hope you have an incredible rest of your week. And for the folks listening, I'll see y'all on Friday.
Thank you so much for having me on, Hayden. It's been a pleasure, and I appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.